Let's talk for a minute about rounding numbers, because this will help us when we try to estimate numbers, and that will really aid you in checking your work to see if you're very close to an answer when you're getting into your more complicated problems. So once again, I've put the place value chart for you so you can, if you're having trouble remembering where the place values are, there's the chart that we looked at in the beginning. And our examples tell us we're supposed to round the following numbers to the given place value. In example 1, they want us to round 273 to the nearest tens place. Well, as you can see, the tens place is the second digit. So I'm going to underline the number that, or the digit that I'm going to be rounding to. Now, when we're rounding, we always look directly at the digit to the right of the number we're rounding to. So the only thing that's going to matter is that 3. In the question we have to ask ourselves is it a 5 or above? If it's below 5, we don't do anything to the 7. And it is below 5, so our 7 stays the same. If it is above, if it is 5 or above, we would have to add 1 to the 7. In no case would you ever subtract from that 7, the digit you're rounding to, when you round a number. So you're either going to leave it the same or you're going to add 1 to it. So in this case, the 3, everything past the digit we round to will become a 0. So we have 3 digits. I'll just write these lines for them. The 3 is always going to be a 0 because that's past the point where we're rounding. The 7, in this case, we leave it the same, and everything that is before there wouldn't change either. So our number would be 270. Let's take a look at rounding 8,494 to the nearest hundreds. First, let's find the hundreds place. It's the first 4. Then we're going to look at the digit directly to the right. Well, a 9 tells us we're going to have to add 1 to that 4. Let's take a look at the 4 digits and see what happens to them. The ones that are past the one we're rounding to, this is the one we're rounding to, become zeros. So everything past that point, we can put zeros down. Now, we have to add 1 to our 4, making it a 5, and then we didn't have to change the 8. The number it's rounded to as hundreds is 8,500, or 8,500. 33,762, they want us to round to the nearest thousands. First, we found the thousands place. It is our second 3. Then we look to the digit directly to the right. Everything, let's see, I'll put down my 5 digits here so you can see what I'm doing. Everything to the right of the number I'm rounding to becomes a 0. I look at my 7, and I say, that means it's bigger than a 5. I'm going to have to add 1 to the 3, making it a 4. And then the first 3 would just stay the same. The number would be 34,000. And for example 4, let's look at rounding 495 to the nearest 10. The number we're rounding to is in the tens place. It's the 9. And we're going to look to the number to the right, the 5. That 5 is going to make us have to add 1 to our 9. We'll take a look what happens when we add 1 to the 9. Of course, everything in the ones place becomes a 0. It is past the number we're rounding to. We add 1 to our 9, it becomes a 10. I have to carry and add another 1, carry my 1 over and add it to the 4, making it a 5. So 495 rounded to the nearest 10 is really 500. What would we do? What would we use this for? Well, a lot of times it helps us add long lists of numbers fairly quickly to estimate the answer. In other words, we're going to get close to the answer. If we want to estimate the sum or difference of example 5, which is a sum, by rounding each of the numbers to the nearest 10 and then adding them together. The number we're going to be rounding to is in the tens place. I'm just going to underline them. The column we're going to be looking at is in the ones place. Now, we're only going to be changing the digit that we round to if we have a 5 or greater. As you can see, only the last 2 numbers have greater than 5. So we would change a 52. We would round it to 50. We would round 33 to 30. We would round 15 to 20 because we had to add 1 to that other one. And we would round 29 to 30. Can we add these numbers fairly quickly? Yes, we can. Everything in the ones place is 0. All we have to do is add the tens place. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 3 gives us 13. Our estimated answer, 130. What about subtraction in example 6? If we round to the nearest tens place, once again, the digits we're interested in rounding to are in the tens place, and the column that's important to us is the ones place, the one next to it. So Which of these are 5 or greater? Well, both of them are. That means I'm going to have to add 1 each time. My 555 would become 560. My 235 would become 240. Now, when I subtract those two, I say 6 minus 4 is 2, 5 minus 2 is 3, and my estimated answer, 320, is really easy for me to get to. All right, let's take a look at estimating the sum and the difference of example 7 and 8 by rounding to the hundreds place. The hundreds place, in example 7, is a 0, a 1, and a 2, and I'm going to look at the digit next to it. The tens column is the only thing that matters to me. So, the only one that I have that I need to round is that first number. A round up is the first number. It would change 4,050 to 4,100. I'm going to change 3,133 to 3,100 because I didn't have to add to the digit I was rounding to. And 1,220 would round to 1,200 or 1,200. I can add these numbers together very quickly. The ones place and the tens place are all zeros. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. And 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus 1 would be 8. My estimated answer, 8,400. Let's do the same thing for example 8. The hundreds place, of course, these are the two digits. The column I'm interested in is the tens place. And both of those numbers are greater, or 5 or greater. So, for 1989, I'm going to have to add a 1 to my 9. Let's put down my 2 zeros in the final places, places. And I'm going to have to add a 1 to my 9, which would change it into a 10. And I will carry a 1 and add it to the 1 in the thousands place. That makes it 2,000. For 1870, I'm going to have to, let's put down the 2 zeros again. I'm going to have to add a 1 to the 8, which makes it a 9. And I didn't have to carry, so I just had a 1 in the thousands place. When I subtract, this is fairly simple to do. I say 10 minus 9 is 1, and my answer, an estimated answer of 100.